After 1 month living full marathon monk mode up in the Japanese mountains, it's time to find out if all that work has actually paid off. Was the 40 kilometers of daily running actually worth it? And am I on track to destroy my sub 210 marathon goal? The base phase is now officially complete, so there's only one way to test my fitness and kickstart this marathon block for real. It's time to race a marathon. So I managed to survive the mountain training arc, but the question is, did I thrive? Did I become a stronger runner, or at the end of it, am I just in an absolute hole from the mileage that I was putting in? That's what we're gonna find out today when I test myself at the end of this video with a marathon in Hokkaido. But first, let's look back at this training block, and then at the end of it, have I weaponized my legs and managed to level up? Because that was obviously the aim. So just before I spent this month at altitude, I raced 2 races, a marathon, Gold Coast, where I ran my slowest target marathon ever, 2:19. But then the week after that, I actually ran my best 10K ever. So I was in this weird position where my endurance was pretty lacking, but then actually my speed, my top end was looking pretty good. And I think things started to turn around, like I was just turning a corner. So with that 10K race, I think things were starting to click and I was coming back into shape. But then altitude, it's obviously a dangerous game. And especially with me suffering with anemia, like over this kind of past year, and I had a blood test a few weeks before going to altitude and actually was still a bit anemic. So it's a bit of a recipe for disaster going up to altitude where your red blood cells are being tested to the limit, and I didn't have enough to start with, so I was going to be putting a massive strain on my body. And then you add in 260, 270k weeks. I put in a huge mileage shift, and on the surface, yeah, I should have been absolutely cooked coming out of it. But as the old saying goes, sometimes you just gotta train harder, not smarter. And I think this time that did actually pay off, because all of the sessions while I was there were quality. Like I was running with all these 2:10 marathon runners. I was actually the slowest runner in the group with a 2:14 marathon PB. All the other Suzuki Club runners were actually quicker than me. But even so, I was hanging right in there, like right at the front of all these sessions. So I kind of knew that, yeah, I'm coming into good shape. Like this is the base build. I'm trying to put in a massive aerobic base to try and level up my endurance, which I knew was the weak area. Like my legs, my thunder thighs were weak. So heading up to the mountains, doing these non-stop hilly runs, like up, down, there wasn't a single bit of flat running there. So it was absolutely brutal, but I think coming out the other side, yeah, I feel much stronger. And like I said, my speed was actually in a great place already. So with that 10K and all the sessions leading in, were the quickest sessions I've done in my life, like 8 by K, ripping like 255s, all of that stuff, the speed side was actually pretty good. I guess my one fast switch fiber had finally decided to come out. And it is slightly tricky in summer in Japan because it's so hot, so it means that the longer intervals, the longer reps, tempo runs, long runs, that stuff's going to be way harder because your heart rate just climbs up and up and up. It just can't come back. Whereas the track stuff, like shorter reps, are going to be a lot easier in the heat. And that's why when we're in the mountains at altitude, we're not worried too much about paces and stuff. It's more just about banking huge volume, getting as strong as possible. And then once that base build is finished, now the summer's kind of coming to an end. I say that, it's still like 35 degrees in Tokyo. So it's a bit of a joke here, the summer, it's just never ending. But when it does eventually start to cool down, then I'll start ramping up the paces, looking to lock in more towards that marathon pace. To run that sub 210 marathon, that's the goal. I've got to go 3:05 per K. So it's a little bit of a spicy pace to hold for 42K. But hopefully starting the marathon block now, I'm in the best place strength-wise and the best place speed-wise. You put them together, speed, endurance, boom, let's go. Now let's see how the altitude camp ended before heading on to Sapporo in Hokkaido. Just finished out the final session for Jimmy. Gotta say sayonara now. What a course though. That cross country one, absolute killer, but I reckon it's so good for that strength building. I'm interested to see now when I head back to Tokyo how my like 1K reps are and all of that, because when you're ripping it on here, it's just non-stop up and down. I think it's my absolute weakness. Like as soon as we hit one of the monster hills, I'm just getting dropped by the Japanese guys. They've got these tiny little strides, like blah, 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 blah. And I'm just so heavy up with that. I can barely move up them, but to still like hang in there, just about hold on to them, I think it's pretty promising. And I reckon, yeah, that's gonna set me up very nicely now for a big block. Like the legs are feeling solid. I mean, first I've obviously got to get through Hokkaido Marathon in 3 days time. Could be a bit of a struggle. So I hit a bit of a reverse taper going into Hokkaido Marathon with this monster cross-country sesh just a few days before. But that's all part of the master plan, as I'll explain later. Now, I was obviously dreading the return to the Tokyo sauna, but at least I had a little surprise waiting for me. Oh baby, Christmas has come early. I've just had this beauty of a package arrive. It's taken up half my living room, so let's crack this bad boy open because I think this is my new stash of Brooks gear that I've been waiting on. Because I've been traveling non-stop for the last couple months, I actually haven't had my big kit drop from America. So let's see what goodies a pro runner gets given, and I've got to put this down because for me this is weight training right now. My skinny little arms are being put to use and I am weak. So yeah, now that I'm finally back in Tokyo, I could pick up this bad boy, but I've been getting by like in the mountains off a few sort of pieces that I picked up in Seattle when I traveled over there. So I'm actually buzzing to check this out and see what wavy garms and new crepes I've got. Been running a little low on shoes and geez, it looks like we're set up all right. Cool, that should keep me going for what, maybe a month or so with the rate I'm going through shoes. But yeah, very nice looking package we got here. So with gear, it looks like we've got a mix of sort of winter stuff, autumn things like jackets. Oh, that's pretty fresh. A lightweight jacket right there. Also some tights and things. I guess the rest of the world has moved on. Summer's finished. It's obviously getting colder, but Japan, yeah, it doesn't quite operate like that. It's still 30 to 35 degrees. We have a low at the moment of 25. So that means if you're training first thing in the morning, the sun hasn't even risen, or you wait to what, 10 p.m. at night, it's still gonna be at a minimum 25 just because of the humidity. So yeah, I can't say I'm gonna be pulling out these thick tights anytime soon. Oh yeah, these are tasty, some of these long sleeve. I cannot wait to bust these out. Bring on that 5-degree weather, it's gonna be dreamy. But then we have also got plenty of t-shirts and stuff as well, so I can be rocking these ones. Brooks Mountain, Ultra and Trail. I have plans to conquer all three of those in the future. If you saw the recent summer training arc in the mountains, I was putting in some filthy elevation, but I've said before, the marathon's easily the most competitive distance. Like, it's the prestigious event, it's what everyone does, and it's so much less competitive when you move to like ultra running, trail running. So at the moment, I want to test myself at the hardest possible distance. And while I have got a tiny bit of speed in the leg, still give the marathon a go. But I know that realistically, my strength is gonna lie in the longer stuff. Like, the longer the distance, the better I get. So inevitably, yeah, at some point, I'm gonna hit the trails and the ultras. It's the perfect cart horse grind, isn't it? A ton of good stuff there that I can be rocking. And now it's the bit that I know everyone's been waiting for, the shoe chat. I keep getting hammered in my comments, people asking what I'm wearing, so I can say that at the moment, for my easy and like recovery runs, any non-session day, I've been rocking the Ghost 17, so I've got, yeah, another one of them, and then the Glycerin 22, like both of those, unreal, just easy run shoes, get the job done, daily trainer. But I haven't tried yet the Glycerin Max. Whew, this one, absolute unit right there. These look like they're fit for Quadzilla himself. That's some serious pavement pounding that these can handle. Then when it comes for steady running, so that in between, it's not your all out session day, but then you're trying to pick up the pace a bit. For me, that's probably sub 4-minute Ks maybe. I have either the Hyperion 3, and I've got another couple of these here. So it's a nice little up-tempo shoe. It's actually what the boys from the Sharks team were wearing for that 20K hilly steady run. So Yasu and Abraham, they were rocking the Hyperion 3. Nice and lightweight, so I reckon that's ideal for a steady run. And then if I'm going longer steady, so like what some of these 50K runs I'm doing where I'm not absolutely hammering them, but I still want to tick over at a decent pace, then I've been wearing the Brooks Hyperion Max 3, so that's just a bigger version. So yeah, as you can tell with shoes and stuff, I'm not going to get technical. I'm no shoe tube, I'm just going to tell you how it feels running in them. To be honest, for me, I don't care about any of the stats, the stack height, the drop, none of that. It's purely just, do they feel good when I'm running? What kind of run are they best going to be suited for? Like a more up tempo, just casual jogging? Am I tired legs? Do I want some fat cushioning or a bit harder, a bit more responsive? So everything's purely down to feel. And the Hyperion Elite 5, that's obviously the race shoe of choice. Certified weapon right here, and I've been loving this in training as well recently. I love that it's not on the ridiculously mega soft, chunky side that a lot of super shoes have gone down, where you almost feel like you're sinking into the floor. These have got some pop. They're slightly more old school, I'd say, in the feel, but it's a slightly harder landing. Like, there's still plenty of cushioning. It's not like your legs are getting banged up, but I can actually feel like I'm popping off the ground. And I find my calves have been quality in them, because some of those really soft ones can put a lot more strain on your calves, which has always been my kryptonite. But I've actually had no problems whatsoever on these. So that right there is my lineup, all the different Brooks shoes, what I've got covered. And let me know in the comments actually if you've tried any of these and what you think about them. But yeah, this whole thing is pretty cool, and it genuinely is thanks thanks to people watching these videos that I managed to get sponsored. So shout out all the Run to Japan supporters, you're legends. And I've had people ask me, do I have a discount code or anything for Brooks? Unfortunately not. It's not like one of those affiliate partnership things. I think on their website they do have regular discounts, like you could probably get a discount on it. All right, now that's enough shoe chat for the year. On to Hokkaido, the northernmost island of Japan, and the only place cool enough to host a summer marathon here. So the first run in Hokkaido, right now it's actually dreamy running weather. For summer in Japan, it's probably the best possible conditions. It's like 20 degrees, overcast, feels icy cold coming from Tokyo, and it's not too humid as well. So if only the race was today, but it's looking like tomorrow it's actually gonna heat up a fair bit. I think it gets up to 27 or so, and a fair bit of sun, because that's always the killer, that direct sunlight. And that weather's really gonna dictate the kind of pace that I go at, because this race is absolutely stacked. Like loads of the elite runners from Japan are coming up. And it's all because this marathon is part of the MDC series, which is used as an entry method into the Japan Olympic Trials race. Like they have a number of key races each year in Japan, and those big ones, you get points if you score highly in it to then qualify for their trials race. But the thing is, you've got to also run a time. I've seen people in the US complaining that they brought the Olympic Trials qualifier down. I think now it's at like, what, 2:17 or something. Well, mate, lucky you're not Japanese, because you've got to run sub 2:09 just to get into their trials race. Because there's like 50 guys that can do that, it's an absolute joke. But it means at the front, the pace is going to be pretty hot tomorrow, but I'm definitely not going to be pushing it too hard. The idea is to just get a good hard training stimulus in, get a rough idea of where my fitness is at after that big summer training block. So there's no pressure going into this race at all for me, and I like to think about it just like a normal training session, nothing special. So I'm feeling very relaxed actually about the race tomorrow. It's now the evening. I've kind of just got on with my day like normal. Haven't hit a massive carbo load. I'll get like a big dinner in now. But I'm actually going to experiment in this race. So before in the previous target marathons and a lot of the practice ones, I almost feel like I've overdone the carbs. Like I got so sucked into the hype of the more carbs, the better. That actually during the race, I felt pretty uncomfy. Like I've been so full. And almost, yeah, it feels like my stomach's like weighing me down. So this time I'm just going to try out cutting it back a little bit. Obviously I'll still get a good amount in. I'll get a big dinner tonight. But then during the race, I'm probably not going to be pushing that 100 carbs an hour like normal. Maybe take a little page out of Fujiwara-san's book. He took it to the real extreme, 2:07 marathon with no sugar, no carbs at all. I will be getting some drinks in though, obviously, because it's so humid. Like I'm going to be sweating a ton and I'll have sugar in that. But ideally I want to be able to move, feel smooth, bouncy, explosive, instead of just being weighed down like an absolute cart horse. So pre-race, I wasn't going ham on the scran, but oh boy, did I make up for it after. I'll treat you to a showcase of the top Hokkaido picks now, because I know Scran to Japan is everyone's favourite section. So each region in Japan has different specialty foods, and I had to sample all of the ones here. I was with one of my mates from Tokyo, Iwasa, who's part of the same Ekiden team as me, and a couple of his uni mates had come up too, so we went on a culinary tour. There was a brilliantly named dish, Genghis Khan, which is like a lamb barbecue and a local delicacy, so we demolished never-ending plates of that. And with Sapporo being right on the coast, the seafood is absolutely banging, so we had to get some kaisen don, which is a mixed bowl of different seafood layered on rice. And then Hokkaido's most famous export is probably dairy. And I don't know what they're feeding the cows here, but the milk-based products are next level. So cream puffs and ice cream were also on the menu. Big buddy, big buddy. We finished it off with the local style of fried chicken, and yeah, as you can tell, the food this week's slightly different from last week on camp, where everything was so clean and healthy. But you know, post-marathon, anything goes. You've got to get those recovery calories in. But let's see if I actually deserved all that and check out how the race went. God, I didn't realise how big time this race is. It feels a bit like Tokyo Marathon. We got this whole elite warm-up area, TV cameras everywhere. Like, this is legit. I guess because it's one of these trials race qualifiers. So yeah, loads of good runners in there. I saw there's a ton of sub 2:10 guys actually running. But then looking at all the past years, it seems like everyone runs about 5-10 minutes slower than their PB. Like, no one's getting close. Because it's a summer marathon, like in Japan, you can actually just feel it heating up a bit now. The sun's creeping out. It's going to get up to maybe 25 25 degrees. So it's time to head on a little warm up now and then we can get cracking. Yeah, I'm buzzing for this, very hyped. It's been forever since I've raced and I do love getting out there. You can't beat that race adrenaline. So the hardest part was going to be controlling myself and not getting gassed up to go with the leaders. So the front group was being paced at sub 212 and there's a ton of sub 210 marathoners here. But obviously to run it in these conditions, you probably need to be in 2.6, 2.7 shape.
On your marks.
But I stuck firmly to the plan, go off at around 320, 325 pace. And I had a nice little group form around me and we were rolling at around 221 marathon pace. Now I knew that obviously with this being a Japanese race that every single runner in the entire field was gonna positive split because that's just how it goes here. So from halfway on, I felt like the pace was starting to drop a little bit and I decided to kick on. So halfway we went through in I think about 70-30 and I was feeling pretty comfy. So even though the sun was coming out, there was no shade at all in this course. I was completely unprotected and it was getting up towards 25, 26 at this point. So it was gonna be tough, but I thought there was potential to negative split here and maybe even dip under a 220 marathon, which would be a nice little training shift. And even though I'm absolutely terrible in hot weather, like I'd love it to be 0 degrees, maybe 5 degrees max, but to keep this pace rolling and actually start picking up. So the final 10K was my quickest. So I averaged around 310s for that final 5K, passing a whole load of runners. And then on the home straight, I saw this Kenyan runner up ahead. I think was the #1 seed. He had like a 207 PB. And so I put in this final little shift because I had to be the #1 foreigner in the race and kicked home just in front of him to come through in 2:19.50. So I was absolutely buzzing with that. Then not long after, my mate Iwasa, who I've been hanging out with in Sapporo, he came in at a 2:25, which again is a very solid shift in this weather. And I was really happy to see the lead female coming in a little bit after me, who's a girl called Sakaguchi, who was actually in the Minanohara homestay with me. And her team was there at the same time. They were legends, like so friendly. And she'd been putting in that last final training camp before this marathon and was going for the win in her debut. And she managed to pull it off, so that was legendary there. Jeez, that was absolutely quality. Probably, my best run ever. Like for me to go 2:19 today, I'm very buzzing with that. Like the shape is definitely there. Get me on a cool course, like almost I wish I was running Berlin in a few weeks' time. I feel like I could definitely PB. I don't know about sub 210 now, but I reckon we're getting close. That's such a promising start, like to end a summer building block with a 2:19, boiling hot weather. Like most of the field was absolutely bombing and I was just moving through. So all in all, big performance, but absolutely nothing compared to my mate over there, Yudo Fukuda. I think I chatted to him in one of my older videos before, but he's an amateur runner. He came third today, beating 90% of the pros, like the elite runners that are running for these company teams. He's working a full-on 9 to 5. I think he's running Berlin in a couple of weeks' time actually. So yeah, just a casual little warm-up, 3 weeks out, just loosen the legs up. Absolutely insane to run a 2:11 in these conditions. And that's worth at least a 2:07, 2:08, I reckon, in Berlin. So I'm very excited to see how he goes there. But that wraps up the summer season and it's now onto the hype of World Champs, which is happening in Tokyo right now. So I'll be covering all of that very soon. But this has been Jake with Run to Japan. I'll catch you in the next one. Remember, train harder, not smarter.